There are moments in life that arrive without warning, moments that change everything in an instant. That day was supposed to be an ordinary day for me, just another walk through a quiet neighborhood. I had no idea that within a few minutes, I would come face to face with a tiny life that desperately needed help. The street was calm and almost empty. Hardly anyone passed by. As I walked along the sidewalk, something small caught my eye. At first, I didn't even recognize what it was. From a distance, it looked like a piece of trash or an old rag left on the ground. But as I stepped closer, my heart suddenly sank. It was a puppy. A tiny, helpless puppy lying completely still on the cold pavement. For a second, I thought it was already gone. The body was so small and fragile, barely the size of my hand. The most heartbreaking part was that the puppy was so young it hadn't even opened its eyes yet. And then I noticed something even worse: one of its front legs was missing. The wound looked old, infected, and badly damaged. I felt a wave of sadness rush over me. How could something so small have already suffered so much? I knelt down beside it, almost afraid to touch it. Then I saw a tiny movement. Its chest was still rising and falling. Very slowly. Very weakly. But it was still breathing. That was the moment everything changed. I knew I couldn't walk away. No matter how fragile or broken this little creature was, it was still alive. It was still fighting. And I couldn't abandon it there on that empty sidewalk. I gently picked the puppy up with both hands. Its body felt cold and light, trembling slightly as I held it. My first instinct was to warm it up. I wrapped my jacket around the tiny puppy, trying to give it some comfort and protection. Without thinking twice, I hurried back home. Once I got inside, I immediately prepared some warm milk. The puppy was too small to drink normally, so I used a small dropper to feed it slowly, one tiny drop at a time. It struggled at first, but then it began to swallow weakly. Watching it drink felt like the first small victory. I cleaned its dirty, matted fur with a warm cloth and made a soft place for it to rest. All I could do in those first hours was try to keep it warm, calm, and safe. As I looked at that fragile little life in my hands, I made a promise to myself. From this moment on, this puppy would not suffer alone anymore. The next morning, I took it straight to a veterinary clinic. I wanted professional help as quickly as possible. The vet examined the puppy carefully, checking its tiny body and the terrible wound where the front leg had been. After a thorough check, the vet explained the situation to me. Because of severe infection and tissue damage, the lost leg could not be saved. The only option was to clean the wound and allow it to heal naturally. The puppy would have to live the rest of its life with only 3 legs. Hearing that broke my heart. But at the same time, the vet gave me hope. He said that with proper care, good nutrition, and enough time, the puppy could still grow up healthy and happy. Losing a leg didn't mean losing a life. That was all I needed to hear. For the next few days, the puppy stayed at the clinic so the doctors could clean the wound, treat the infection, and monitor its condition. I visited every day, anxious to see any small sign of improvement. Slowly, little by little, it began to get better. The wound started to heal. The puppy became more active. Its breathing grew stronger. Each visit filled me with more hope. Finally, the vet told me the words I had been waiting for. "You can take him home now." Bringing the puppy home felt like the beginning of a new chapter. From that day forward, my routine changed completely. I fed it milk several times a day, cleaned it gently, and made sure it was always warm and comfortable. I followed every instruction the vet gave me, changing bandages and keeping the wound clean. Day by day, the tiny puppy grew stronger. Even with only 3 legs, it showed incredible spirit. It never gave up. It never seemed to feel sorry for itself. Instead, it adapted in the most amazing way. At first, it could barely move. Then it learned to stand. After that, it took a few wobbly steps. Before long, it was hopping around the house, exploring its new world with curiosity and joy. Watching that transformation was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. What once looked like a dying, hopeless creature was slowly turning into a playful, happy little dog. Every day we spent together created a deeper bond. I played with it, cared for it, and watched its personality grow. It was gentle, loving, and incredibly brave. Despite everything it had been through, it trusted me completely. Weeks turned into months. The wound healed completely, leaving only a small scar and a reminder of the past. The puppy learned to run, to play, and to live just like any other dog. Sometimes I even forgot that it only had 3 legs. Now, when I look at it running happily around the house, I can hardly believe it's the same puppy I found that day. The tiny life that once lay helpless on a lonely sidewalk is now full of energy, love, and happiness. And every time I see those bright, joyful eyes looking up at me, I remember how close it came to never having a future at all. I often think back to that first moment. If I hadn't walked down that street. If I hadn't stopped. If I had just kept going like everyone else. This beautiful little soul might not be here today. People sometimes say that I saved the puppy. But the truth is, I feel like it saved me too. It taught me patience. It taught me compassion. And most of all, it reminded me that even the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. Today, the puppy lives happily beside me. It runs, plays, and enjoys every simple moment of life. It has a warm home, good food, and someone who loves it deeply. What began as a heartbreaking discovery turned into one of the greatest joys of my life. And I know, without a doubt, that stopping to help that day was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Sometimes, miracles come in the smallest forms. And sometimes, all it takes to create one is a little bit of love.